I want to say good morning to Corey Stewart, candidate for U.S. Senate in Virginia. Corey, welcome to the program this morning.
Thanks for having me on again.
I tell you, it was a big day here in the Commonwealth. Did the swamp turn out strong against the GOP?
Well, that's the problem. The swamp didn't even. We had a swamp creature for our nominee on the Republican side. I mean, this is what happens when you nominate, establishment phony Republicans who have no message, won't embrace the president, ridicule his supporters, and lull the base to sleep. This is exactly what happens, and hopefully we won't make the same mistake twice.
You know, President Trump urged voters in his tweets and even some robocalls to get out and vote for Ed Gillespie. Then the president tweeted last night, worked hard. Ed Gillespie worked hard, but did not embrace me or what I stand for. He did go on to say, which I was telling Janet earlier this morning, the president could be the perfect cheerleader because he goes on to say Republicans won 4 out of 4 House seats, and with the economy doing record numbers, will continue to win even bigger than before. So there is a positive note here from the president.
And he's absolutely right. Everybody knew. Everybody in the Republican base knew. All the Trump supporters in Virginia knew. My supporters knew that Ed Gillespie treated the president like he had typhoid Mary. He wouldn't invite him down to campaign with him. Even when the president said good things about him, encouraged his supporters to support Ed, Ed wouldn't even retweet those things. He had nothing to do with the president, and now Ed paid the price, but unfortunately not just Ed, but Ed has taken down the Republican establishment has taken down the entire Republican ticket, the biggest electoral disaster in at least 2 generations.
Corey Stewart, do the Republicans, do they need to bring in more supporters for the party?
Yeah, I mean they've got to rile people up. They've got to embrace the president. They've got to be very, very strong on the key issues. This issue of the monuments, of preserving the monuments is popular. People hate political correctness. It's popular across the entire state. Ed wouldn't barely even touch this issue. I mean, you've got to be able to directly appeal to the voters, and you have to embrace the president and the president's agenda because people want jobs back. But if you're not going to embrace the president, then why should the base even show up? They didn't show up.
Well, and Corey, let me just say, I haven't been represented by the Republican Party in, maybe a decade.
Yeah.
They don't value what I value. They get in there and then they're weak and they don't vote the platform and they give in. Are we ever going to get focused again? Because the party seems so unfocused now on what those of us who have been so loyal for so long truly believe in.
Yeah. I mean, what you just said is exactly how a lot of people feel this morning, and a lot of people feel. Unfortunately, that's how a lot of people felt yesterday too.
And they didn't vote because of it.
They didn't vote. And I mean, you look at Congress. I mean, look at what's happening in Washington. You have all these establishment Republicans up there. Like John McCain and Flake, and I mean, it is a flake. Going.
Well, McCain's not Republican. Hasn't been forever.
Yeah, that's right. And they won't even support the president. So of course the base is thinking, why should we even vote if these guys are not even going to embrace the president? They're not even going to help the president rebuild America, bring back jobs, and everything that he promised to do.
And we were talking earlier this morning the fact that you have Governor McAuliffe. Let's face it, Governor-elect Ralph Northam is nothing like Terry McAuliffe. Nothing.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're going to find out, but I can guarantee you. You know what? One thing, there's like a rule of nature. It's like gravity. The Democrats, the liberals, always overreach. They're going to take this victory and they're going to try to pass some really stupid stuff. Mark my words. And that's really going to turn out. That's going to hurt them big time in 2018.
What do you feel, Corey Stewart, running for U.S. Senate in Virginia, what do you feel Virginians learned from last night?
Well, I think the lesson that we've learned is that you've got to embrace the president. You got to speak very frankly with people. You got to be authentic. You've got to be a real person. You can't just echo these same old trite, boring phrases and messages that Republicans have been using for the past 40 years. You've got to engage the voters. You got to be more populist. you've got to be authentic like the President of the United States.
And you've got to walk the talk.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's a good point. You've got to actually get something done, and not just get in there and then do nothing.
Right.
And all we've heard from the establishment wing of the party is just excuse after excuse after excuse.
What for you? What did last night? What will it say about your campaign for U.S. Senate?
Well, I think it clearly establishes me as I hate to use that word with regard to myself, but it does clearly establish me as the titular head, as Steve Bannon said the other day, of the Trump movement in Virginia, and certainly and of the Republican Party in Virginia. The rebuilding starts today, and we're going to have to do it quick because we've got my election that's just around the corner.
Should the Democratic Party be euphoric over wins in Virginia and New Jersey?
Well, yeah, I think that they are, and I think but that's the seed of their own demise because they're going to misinterpret this as a repudiation of Trump. It has nothing to do with Trump.
The media's been setting that up for weeks.
Yeah. I mean, they've been trying to say that, and a lot of these pundits are saying that today, but that is not the case because we know in Virginia that that Gillespie was distancing himself from Trump. That was the problem, not the cause of it.
We have about 1 minute till news time. Are you ready to tackle Tim Kaine?
Absolutely. I'm ready to get out there and take that seat back. Tim Kaine, who a lot of people used to think was a kind of a middle-of-the-road guy, is a far left-wing Democrat. We saw that during the vice presidential race. And people are tired of it. They want somebody who's going to embrace the president and help pass his agenda in Washington.